of one of the US aircraft carriers with their entire weaponry lined up. All the crafts are lined up, different types of crafts are lined up, and you can see almost every plane individually. It's very clearly visible. Would this be the Chinese that are supplying this data? Because that was a commercial satellite almost. It's open source. It's all there.
Well, China has been...
Go ahead.
China has been quite open about it. In fact, it has been posting photographs after photographs of various ships carrying armament, one of which was hit.
Yeah.
But in this case, the question you're particularly asking, I would not like to pinpoint that it was Chinese. It could very well be Iranian sympathizers among Palestinians or anyone else.
Anyone else? Yes. Yes.
Add one more thing.
Yeah.
Early this or late last year, an IDF officer was arrested for espionage for Iran.
Right.
For doing this for money.
Okay.
So it could be that this is a similar case.
I just want you to also direct your attention to this photograph.
Yes, please.
Now, this photograph, can we just bring that photograph back, please? Thank you. That's the photograph. Now, we are being told that this is of the UK mission that was attacked. And this is an AFP photograph which shows some sort of a craft approaching this particular mission.
I can explain you. This would be Akrotiri on Cyprus.
Yes, Cyprus, yes. That's right.
And this is a C-17 transport aircraft.
Okay.
So Akrotiri is on Cyprus, and it's a former British colony.
Yes.
And then they have retained some specific area of the island, and are using it ever since for military purposes.
So where would this be?
Just a second. Opa.
Yeah. There we
It's
go.
always a little bit.
It goes the other way.
Yes.
The Earth rotates. Even the map rotates. What a coincidence. There's Cyprus. Okay. So we're looking at this area, you're saying.
Just a second.
Where this particular...
I'm searching for Akrotiri because I don't remember where exactly was it. This is quite a big part of the island. It's actually British military zone.
Yes.
Limassol. Is it down here?
There's something called Cochlea.
I'm searching for Akrotiri.
Okay, Akrotiri. Anyhow, so we know that this has happened, and this is where we'll look for it, and we'll come to you in just a few moments. But you're saying that basically this is the area where this attack has taken place. So this military plane has flown all the way from Iran. Are you saying that? I mean,
not a military plane, but a missile.
Missile. Okay,
yes.
so this is a missile.
Apparently, 1 or 2 missiles were fired in that direction.
Right.
There are conflicting reports in regards whether they fell into the sea or whatever. The British wouldn't say more than that they have missed.
And they have missed. But clearly, something has happened because that British base is constantly looking under siege, viewers. And we're getting news now from there. And you also saw, of course, the other base in Kuwait that was struck, apparently, or an area close to that. And that was the photo that Aman was showing on his phone, which we are going to bring out. We're going to take a very short break. We'll be right back with more updates, viewers, as this conflagration widens by the moment.
All right, I want to go across to this breaking update that is now coming in. 4 US soldiers have been killed in fighting. This is the latest update that is coming in from America, from US CENTCOM itself, that has said that 4 US soldiers have been killed in the fighting. So there is more damage that the US is taking as far as this entire war is concerned. They had confirmed that 3 of their soldiers had lost their lives in the action after day 1 itself. Now we're nearing 2.5 days per se, 48 plus hours now, and another 4 US soldiers have been killed in the fighting. We'll get you more updates exactly what has transpired, whether this is 4 total deaths now or 4 more deaths now of the US soldiers. But yesterday itself, America had accepted that there are 3 soldiers that have been killed in the fighting. Now the update is 4 US soldiers that have been killed in the fighting. So this is, of course, turning out to be not as easy or swift a military operation. This is going to come with its own costs as far as America is concerned. So already there are deaths or killings of American soldiers that are piling up. But how long can America have the appetite to continue this is the big question, because at home it hasn't been really much support for a military offensive, even if after the announcement of this offensive, many in America have welcomed it, but they don't really have an appetite for a full-blown war. My colleague Akansha is also joining us with more on this. Akansha, what is the latest update?
All right. So, Shivani, I can't hear your question, but I can tell you that there's a confirmation coming in from both sides, which is Iran also now confirming that indeed 3 F-15 fighter jets of the United States were downed. Now, remember earlier the statement coming in from CENTCOM was that this was during a combat operation where not just missiles, UAVs, but also Iranian aircraft were involved. Kuwait has also indicated this was a result of friendly fire. Now, of course, what's muddling the situation over here is clearly the barrage of missiles that have been bombarding Kuwait since the wee hours of the morning. It's roughly around at 4:30 a.m. What was being reported earlier was that 6 of the crew members had ejected safely. But now there's another confirmation coming in that 4 U.S. service members have been killed.
So, Akansha, just a quick clarification. This is 4 more after 3 were announced last evening, or
Yes.
this is total 4 deaths now?
No, these are 4 more from the US CENTCOM. The confirmation coming in is in fact from Tampa, Florida, going on to say that as of 7:30 a.m. ET, March 2nd is what they are referring to. So on March 2nd, which is today, 4 US service members have been killed in action. The 4th service member was seriously wounded during Iran's initial attacks, eventually succumbed to their injuries. But most importantly, 3 of the US F-15 fighter jets have been down. This is a confirmation not just coming in from the US Central Command, but also now from Iran, that puts to rest the question with regards to the possibility if there were more F-15s involved. So far, we can tell you that 3 F-15s have indeed been downed. Whether this was a result of friendly fire or the involvement of Iranian aircraft as well, whether this was a dogfight, we do not know. But 3 F-15s have been down, and this is huge. This is big news because it only goes on to indicate that Donald Trump has clearly miscalculated this entire attack, because Iran is not throwing in the towel yet. They are digging in their heels and they are going ahead, entering Kuwaiti airspace as well, because if Kuwait and its defense ministry have indicated that there was indeed a dogfight and Iranian aircraft were indeed involved, it goes on to say that their airspace has very much been violated by Iranian aircraft. Shivani.
We are getting more updates now. Even though America is claiming that its 3 jets were downed in friendly fire, Iran is now claiming that it is the one that has actually shot down those 3 US F-15s. Trump had claimed that this was friendly fire in Kuwaiti airspace by Kuwaiti Air Defense, but Iran says that these were targeted strikes. So is the fog of war now well and truly on, where different sides are going to say different things and possibly try to gain an upper hand in narrative as well, is the big question. Sanjay Suri is also joining us with more on this. But before that, I go across to my colleague Akansha first up. Akansha, now, this is the first such instance where we've got a direct, contradiction in what US and Iran are saying. US very clearly saying this was friendly fire in Kuwait. First, Kuwaiti ministry came out and said, yes, multiple crashes have happened, but everybody is safe. Now, Iran is saying they are the ones who actually downed these aircrafts.
Absolutely, and if the US were to admit that this was a result of Iranian aircraft actually going ahead and downing these 3 F-15s, it is going to mean egg in the face of the US forces, which is perhaps why they are resorting to this narrative building. And we've seen that happen time and again. I would again want to allude to the kind of narrative that emanated out of Operation Sindoor, when there were being claims made from both sides, and in fact what muddled it further were the claims that were made by the US president. But this is just a reminder to US, in fact, tasting their own medicine right now when it comes to narrative building. But the confirmation coming in from both sides that yes, indeed, 3 F-15s were downed. It's a huge military loss already within 48 hours now. In fact, ever since the conflict began for the United States. And Iran, as I said, is not throwing in the towel right now. They have already continued with their barrage of missiles. They are targeting oil refineries. The most significant one was in Aramco, where they have in fact also had to go and shut down that refinery. We'll have to see if there are going to be more strategic losses over here or not. But I can tell you these are big developments at the moment, and egg in the face almost in terms of the kind of calculations that were done by the US side. Shivani.
All right, let's also go across to Sanjay Suri, who continues to be with us. Sanjay, big contradiction coming in now from both the US and the Iranian sources. There's Iranians now saying that they're the ones who downed these jets. Now, it's pretty rare, for the benefit of our viewers, for an American F-15 to be downed. Now, if Iran managed 3 of them, that could indeed be egg on the face of Americans.
Well, it would be extremely unlikely that these were downed in a dogfight with Iranian aircraft. Iran simply does not have aircraft with that kind of reach, with that kind of power, and that's a fair distance from Iran. Whether it has the capacity to take on such aircraft and engage them in a dogfight and down them, that is the first question. It's a doubtful scenario where Iran could have done this, which is not to say it's absolutely impossible. The word from the US is that this was friendly fire. The word from Kuwait is a little uncertain, but whichever way this is, and if the Iranians certainly are going to jump in and claim this, they may have some evidence and some basis for claiming this. It may have been a dogfight, it may have been a missile fire, it may have been a drone. There are many possibilities here. But a straight dogfight between Iranian aircraft and these aircraft would, on first
this could
thought,
of course be.
Viewers, America might have plunged the Gulf into chaos, and there's big breaking news coming in, and I'm going to go straight across to Aman to get it. Aman, this is very big news that is coming through. We are being told that the Iranian media has made some astonishing claims.
Well, yes, Rahul, what we are learning is that Iran's IRGC is now making a big claim that in the latest missile strike, they have targeted the Prime Minister Netanyahu's compound. They are saying that the Israeli Air Force commander's location has also been targeted in a surprise attack by the IRGC, and they are claiming that Netanyahu's fate is unclear. They are saying that they have carried out a very surprise attack where Netanyahu was, and Netanyahu's future fate is uncertain. Has he survived? Has he not survived? That is the IRGC's claim, big claim coming in today after Israel's big strikes in which Kenamai was taken out.
Well, you know, viewers, there is a lot happening on the ground there. I'm going to bring in Tom Cooper in just a few moments, but I'm going to go straight across to Akanksha also. Let's go straight across to Akanksha. Let's get some news from Akanksha. Akanksha, you're here with us, and I want to come straight out to you. It's a long newsroom, but there is some news breaking about the US Embassy.
So the biggest that we are getting right now is with regards to Netanyahu's office being bombed. This is at least what Iran is claiming, that their IRGC has managed to bomb them. At the same time, Rahul, we must keep in mind that there's already information doing the rounds that Netanyahu has left the country. He's headed either to Greece or Germany. The whereabouts of the Israeli Prime Minister are not known. You know that the British consulate has also been attacked. So Kuwait very much on the radar.
And the US embassy in Kuwait has been shut down because apparently that was also targeted.
Yes, and why just Kuwait? Look at the way Pakistan has in fact been responding. 20 protesters already dead. Their consulate officers over there were retaliating severely. US is currently on tenterhooks because their IRGC is very much digging in their grounds. In fact, there's a warning for the viewers over here. A lot of misinformation doing the rounds as we speak, because there's already viral videos showing how Iranian nuclear sites have been bombed on the other side. There's also a confirmation coming in from IAEA that the Iranian representative has shared information that there is enough damage being done to the Natanz nuclear facility, which means there could be very much risks of radioactive leakage taking place. What is the IAEA going to do about this? How is the UN going to respond? We'll have to see. The next few 48 hours are going to be extremely critical.
So what now we are being told, and I'm going to come into with Aman here, what we are being told, and let's walk through. Aman, what have you got with you?
This is, Rahul, the picture put out by the AFP. This is where the smoke is billowing out very near the US embassy in Kuwait. This is the picture that the AFP has put out and clicked by their own correspondent. This is why the US Embassy in Kuwait has been shut down. And earlier in the day, we saw those horrific visuals coming from the US consulate in Karachi, which was also attacked by people. And this was the exclusive visuals, in fact, that our internal security editor Manoj Gupta had brought us. Horrific visuals, people being brought out, bloodied faces, one person was also being carried out, his body after he was shot. We believe that the US Marines had shot 20 Pakistanis dead for storming their consulate yesterday, and that is why today...
Yeah, there you're seeing it. There you're seeing some of those bloodied hands and faces and people shot and being carried out. You can see some of those pictures, those are dramatic pictures. And then, of course, let's just go back to the other photo of the Kuwait photo of the suspected attack on the US consulate there. And that's why the consulate is shut. Now, we don't know if there were people inside that consulate or not, but AFP putting out this photo of an area very close to the US consulate. Now, how are these missiles getting through if there is complete aerial dominance over Iran? One doesn't know. This is the question, viewers, because it is the Gulf countries. And let's talk about this. There are many Gulf countries that are facing a lot of heat, aren't they, Aman, because of these attacks. Let's go straight back to Tom Cooper, because I'm going to talk to him a little bit about that. We're going to also open the map. Viewers, this has been a war that could now turn into a bit of a quagmire for the United States. I know it's very early. I mean, it's very early to sort of talk about timelines, because it's only been 37, 38 hours. But the Americans were hoping. Yes, the Americans were hoping. The Americans were hoping that, look, at the end of the day, we were going to go in, we're going to knock out a few people, and that would be it. The Iranians would put their hands up and say, okay, sorry, we've come back to the table, and we're deciding to move with dialogue.
Well, that is the way Americans would have wanted it, but I think Iran is in for a long haul. Iran wants a long, protracted war, and that is why you see their strategy of bombing all the Middle East nations, and they're also attacking the US embassies because they see them also as a part of the US establishment in these countries. So after the various airports which were on attack, now we have the embassies of US also under attack from Iran.
Well, more news breaking, viewers, on your screens that France is ready to defend the Gulf states and Jordan. So this is now becoming a problem for the Western world, viewers. These are countries in the Gulf that had actually begun to give bases or their land for US bases, and they had allowed these Western nations to give them what is called a protective umbrella. Now, the Iranians have started hitting these countries. I'm not saying that there are massive damages, but some very tactical strikes. So on civilian infrastructure, as we have seen over the last few days, and Tom, let me bring you into this, because there has been information coming, and I'm going to pull out these pictures, and let's come to this map, if it's possible for you to do so. We're going to look at these maps now, because this is Tel Aviv, isn't it? And we're being told that at least the Iranian media is claiming that the IRGC has reached this far and has struck a place where Netanyahu was having a meeting with his Air Force chief, so to speak, and that both are now sort of not around. So is this a wild claim? How could they have done it? Where would this missile have come from? And let's have a look at this first.
Well, I would guess. I can only guess. I don't know where exactly would this meeting have taken place. Somewhere in downtown Israel or further north, where there are big headquarters of the Mossad and Unit 8200, for example, which are frequently targeted by Iran already since 2 years. But I guess that the intelligence came actually from the Chinese again. They have so-called COMINT, this is communications intelligence, signals intelligence, ships underway in the Mediterranean, in the Indian Ocean, and so on. They are tracking the movement of US warships. They are tracking the movement, certainly, of Israeli warships. So they might have, for example, tracked down movement of Prime Minister Netanyahu.
So if we just open this map up.
Just for one more detail. Netanyahu is not a new target for Iranians, or actually for Hezbollah. Last year, Hezbollah attempted to hit his residence with a UAV.
I see.
And this was shot down shortly before reaching the residence. So, and he was in the residence in that moment. So it is possible that they have detected his movement in one way or the other. There are also sympathizers who might have reported, and so on and so on. So options are open.
So stay with me. Let's go straight across to Sanjay Suri. Sanjay Suri, thank you for joining us once again. I know difficult times, and there probably are air raid sirens sounding all around you from time to time. So thank you for taking this risk. But we're getting news that the Iranian media is claiming Iran's IRGC says that it has struck some locations where Netanyahu was meeting with one of his commanders, the commander of the Air Force, and that his whereabouts are no longer known. Now, is this what many people say psyops? Is this deliberate disinformation warfare? What is going on here? What are you hearing in the Iranian media? Israeli media.
Well, we've seen these we have seen some social media posts floating around. There is no confirmation of this. So far, the indications are that this is a rumor, but we've only just come across this kind of suggestion that is being circulated. So no official word on this yet, no word in the Israeli media, no word in any media out of Israel on this as yet. This would be quite extraordinary if true. It would have taken a lot for this to happen. It would have been a very dramatic, it is unlikely to be a small little drone here. We would be looking at a hypersonic ballistic missile that would seek to deliver a blow like this. And we have seen no evidence of that as of now.
Okay, so we don't quite know. Mr. Dogra, let me bring you into this conversation. You heard Lieutenant Colonel Kondrikas at one time in the Gaza conflict. He was the voice of the military in Israel, and he was broadcasting quite often from Israel and giving us updates. He's quite confident that this war is a one-way street, that the Iranians have nothing in the tank, that after a point they're just going to wither away the regime and the people will overthrow it. How do you assess that claim?
Well, I don't want to assess a propaganda reportage. That is what your Israeli guest was doing. But let me come back to this news about the attack on the Israeli Prime Minister's office. The public memory is short, but if you remember in the earlier confrontation between Israel and Iran had struck the garden of Netanyahu's residence. It did not cause much damage, but to the question as to how Iran was able to reach his office presently, the answer is that yes, if Israel has the capability of finding out where Khamenei was, Iran too has some resources. And the proof is, if indeed this missile hit the office of Netanyahu as it had hit one of the missiles or drones had hit his residence in the previous.
Iranian sources be? Would it be Chinese? I've been seeing a lot of pictures on the internet of Chinese technology which is now able to firmly focus on ships and exactly what those ships are carrying on the ground. Apparently there is this photograph, I don't know if you've seen it, of one of the US aircraft carriers with their entire weaponry lined up. All the crafts are lined up, different types of crafts are lined up, and you can see almost every plane individually. It's very clearly visible. Would this be the Chinese that are supplying this data? Because that was a commercial satellite almost. It's open source. It's all there.
Well, China has been...
Go ahead.
China has been quite open about it. In fact, it has been posting photographs after photographs of various ships carrying armament, one of which was hit.
Yeah.
But in this case, the question you're particularly asking, I would not like to pinpoint that it was Chinese. It could very well be Iranian sympathizers among Palestinians or anyone else.
Anyone else? Yes. Yes.
Add one more thing.
Yeah.
Early this or late last year, an IDF officer was arrested for espionage for Iran.
Right.
For doing this for money.
Okay.
So it could be that this is a similar case.
I just want you to also direct your attention to this photograph.
Yes, please.
Now, this photograph, can we just bring that photograph back, please? Thank you. That's the photograph. Now, we are being told that this is of the UK mission that was attacked. And this is an AFP photograph which shows some sort of a craft approaching this particular mission.
I can explain you. This would be Akrotiri on Cyprus.
Yes, Cyprus, that's right.
And this is a C-17 transport aircraft.
Okay.
So Akrotiri is on Cyprus, and it's a former British colony.
Yes.
And then they have retained some specific area of the island, and are using it ever since for military purposes.
So where would this be?
Just a second. Opa.
Yeah. There we
It's
go.
always a little bit.
It goes the other way.
Yes.
The Earth rotates. Even the map rotates. What a coincidence. There's Cyprus. Okay. So we're looking at this area, you're saying,
Just a second.
where this
I'm
particular...
searching for Akrotiri because I don't remember where exactly was it. This is quite a big part of the island. It's actually British military zone.
Yes.
So, what is it down here?
There's something called Cochlea.
I'm
Here.
searching for Akrotiri.
Okay, Akrotiri. Anyhow, so we know that this has happened, and this is where we'll look for it, and we'll come to you in just a few moments. But you're saying that basically this is the area where this attack has taken place. So this military plane has flown all the way from Iran. Are you saying that? I mean,
Not a military plane, but a missile.
Missile. Okay,
yes.
so this is a missile.
Apparently, 1 or 2 missiles were fired in that direction.
Right.
There are conflicting reports in regards whether they fell into the sea or whatever. The British wouldn't say more than that they have missed.
And they are missed. But clearly, something has happened because that British base is constantly looking under siege, viewers, and we're getting news now from there. And you also saw, of course, the other base in Kuwait that was struck apparently, or an area close to that, and that was the photo that Aman was showing on his phone, which we are going to bring out. We're going to take a very short break. We'll be right back with more updates.